Dolphins today. This edition of the postgame show is sponsored by Mint Mobile. They have cell phone plans starting as low as $15 per month. We'll tell you more about them later on in today's show as we recap this 24-16 loss to the Minnesota Vikings. Very disappointing game here. When you look at it from top to bottom, I thought this was a football game the Dolphins should have won. You look at the first half, the Dolphins dominated the first half, yardage, time possession, everything. And they win at halftime trailing 10-3. Vikings go up 16-3. Dolphins get back in the game and have a chance to win it down the stretch. I'll talk about that sequence in a second. First, I'll talk about the stats here. Kirk Cousins, nothing crazy from him. Decent game, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 77 yards and a touchdown. He had that one big 53-yard TD. Raheem Mostert, 14 carries, 49 yards. Bridgewater, 329 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Tyreek went crazy today, 177 yards. But as I mentioned, the Dolphins, after trailing 16-3, made it 16-10, were driving down the field, had a chance to go up and win this football game. Jaylen Waddle caught a first down. It was going to be 1st and 10 inside the 25-yard line, but he fumbled the ball. And that really cost the Dolphins this football game when you look at it, because 2 plays later, Dalvin Cook went off for a 53-yard rushing touchdown. So Jaylen Waddle was visibly frustrated on the sidelines. If Jaylen Waddle doesn't fumble that football, I really do believe the Dolphins win this game. I mean, just brutal stuff down the stretch again in the fourth quarter for this Dolphins team. I know a lot of y'all are going to say Jaylen Waddle here. Who is to blame for the loss? I know Waddle low-key, high-key cost us the game with that fumble in the fourth quarter, but I'm looking at a lot of things. I'm looking at this offensive line. Teddy did not play great in the first half. I think it was too little too late for Teddy, but go let me know down in the comment section who is to blame for this loss. Some of y'all might say Teddy because he just didn't look great in the first half, and it was too little too late for Teddy Bridgewater. In the first half, there was no rhythm on this offense. He was not impressive. The body language didn't look great. He wasn't trying to create plays. In the second half, though, give credit where credit's due. He got the Dolphins back in this football game. Final stat line, 329 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for Teddy. That first interception he threw was in the first half, I believe. Second interception was when this game was arguably out of reach already, with the Fins trailing 24-10 late in the fourth quarter. Grade Teddy's performance down in the comment section. Type A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know how you think Teddy Bridgewater played today. The reason that Teddy Bridgewater ended up playing a majority of this game is because Skylar Thompson left the game in the first half due to a thumb injury. And Skylar got off to a great start in this football game. He looked great in the first quarter. What really cost the Dolphins in that first quarter was that drive where they had 2 first and goals set up, and there was penalties, that got him out of field goal range ultimately. But Sky left the game with a thumb injury. He actually was never ruled out, so I'm guessing if Teddy would have been hurt, then they would have put Skylar in there, even though he wasn't 100%. But he on a throw, his hand hit a player's helmet. He left the game with the thumb injury. So for a third consecutive week, the Dolphins starting quarterback has left the game. Which is pretty wild. So it's a shame. Sky in his first NFL start was playing well. The offense had some rhythm. He was creating plays. He looked better than Teddy Bridgewater did tonight. Adam Zabel, we appreciate the question. Do you think Waddle has a pec or a shoulder injury? Yeah, I appreciate asking that. I meant to bring that up earlier when we were talking about Jaylen, but Waddle did leave the game late in the fourth. He got hit hard, and he was holding right here, which is your pectoral. So that would be very serious. If it's a torn pectoral, it would probably be season-ending. We'll keep you posted here on Dolphins today, but I'm worried about Jaylen's status, man. And, the Dolphins started the season 3-0, and now they're 3-3. And I think the injuries are the main thing to blame there. The injuries, there's so many of them, more than I can count at this point, but a lot of injuries. And it's just such a shame because this is a talented football team. Before we get into more about the game, I want to tell you about our friends over at Mint Mobile, because if you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports, you're going to get the best cell phone service out there, high-speed data. Your service is going to switch seamlessly between 5G and 4G LTE. whatever network is the strongest. They have unlimited premium wireless plans starting as low as $15 per month. MintMobile.com/chatsports. That's the link to pick up that fantastic deal. And that link is in the comments and the description of this video. We'll talk about Tyreek for a second here, because Tyreek was great tonight. 12 receptions, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 64-yard reception. He was fantastic tonight. And unfortunately, the rest of the offense, not so much, especially the offensive line. The offensive line was abysmal. 6 sacks allowed. 6. This is what happens when you do not take the offensive line seriously in the offseason, Chris Greer. I told you when I first got this job in March to improve the offensive line. I said that March, April, May, June, July. You did. I know you signed Teron Armstead. I know you signed Connor Williams, who's not even playing his natural position right now. You did not do enough to improve this offensive line. And for the 3rd straight game, all losses, by the way, you're only 3 losses, 3 straight losses now. Your starting quarterback is exited due to an injury. Cody Searcy, we appreciate the super chat. We need to trade for a good offensive lineman, and we need to trade for Roquan Smith. The linebackers, Cody, have not been good. I love Roquan. The offensive line has been abysmal. Greg Little was terrible tonight. I think if I was out there, it would have been harder to get past me. 5'9", 150-pound Will Scott than Greg Little. Greg Little was just letting guys go by. Hey, go tackle my quarterback. Here he is. It was a joke performance from this offensive line. I agree. Call Chicago. Get Tevin Jenkins. Get somebody. Call Carolina. Get Taylor Moden. Call J.C. Treader. Get him out of retirement. Do whatever you have to do to improve this offensive line, because the good news for this football team is Tua is coming back next week. The bad news, the offensive line still sucks. Baby Tua, we appreciate you in the chat all day long. Will, do you like Hill better or Waddle? Well, today I like Hill better because Waddle kind of cost us the game, Baby Tua, and Hill went for 177 yards. You're talking about just general, though. I love both players, but Waddle was disappointing tonight with that fumble. Again, the final score, 24-16. After starting the season 3-0, Miami has dropped 3 straight. They lost to Cincinnati. Last week they lost to the Jets. Now they lost to Minnesota. And I was very confident coming into this game. I had a lot of confidence in what Skylar Thompson was going to do at quarterback. Unfortunately, he left the game in the first half. Teddy did not look good until the fourth quarter. To give Teddy credit, he turned things around in the fourth quarter, got the Dolphins back in the game, but that Waddle fumble was probably the most costly play of the entire Dolphins season thus far. I think the Dolphins win the football game if Waddle does not fumble the ball. Guys, go down, subscribe for news, rumors, watch parties, and more. We got Tua Tagovailoa coming back next week. Thank goodness that Tua is coming back, because this football team desperately needs their quarterback. Go down, subscribe to the channel. David Storm, our QBs getting their brains beat up. That is because we have no offensive line, Dave. And shout out to you watching from West Virginia. No offensive line. And I'm concerned about Tua next week getting hurt because of this offensive line. You have to protect your quarterbacks. There's not been enough done. Go and make a trade for Taylor Moden tomorrow. Do something to improve this offensive line. And with Armstead out today, we definitely felt his presence lost. But even if you have Armstead and Austin Jackson back, the offensive line still needs to get a lot better. Guys, what's your one-word reaction to this game? Go down in the comments section. Let me know. Next week, you got Tua Tagovailoa coming back. I think if we've learned anything from these last 3 games, it is how valuable Tua Tagovailoa is to this football team. You've lost every single game. You've not had your quarterback. That shows you how important he is to this football team. Thank goodness he comes back next week. You have a fairly easy stretch coming up. Take advantage of it. Win 4 or 5 in a row, but you have squandered a 3-0 start. You've let a 3-0 start go to waste because you've lost 3 straight. Guys, if you couldn't get a question in on this mailbag post-game show, go and follow me on Twitter. Ask me a question there. I'm also on IG at Willie Fins, at WillScott44 on Twitter, at Willie Fins on IG. I want to hear from you. I'm very upset right now about how this game went. I know a lot of y'all are upset with Mike McDaniel. I'm going to cut him some slack because of all the injuries, man. I mean, his entire team is banged up. It's brutal. There's 20 Dolphins or whatever it was on the injury report this week, but you let a 3-0 start go to waste. This football team was 3-0. I'm thinking Super Bowl 3 weeks ago. Now I'm thinking, man, I hope they can make the playoffs. Go follow me on IG at Willie Fins. Looking forward to seeing you guys again next week for Dolphins over Steelers.